In 2019, a man named John worked as a regional sales manager for a notable logistics company. 15 years on the job, six-figure salary, two kids in private school. He never missed a payment on his mortgage. Then March 2020 hit. Within 72 hours, his entire industry froze. Not slowed down, froze. By June, John was on a Zoom call with HR, holding a termination letter and a severance package that would cover exactly 4 months of his lifestyle. Here's what broke him. Not the layoff, not the panic. It was when he opened LinkedIn and realized every job posting required skills he'd never heard of. Data analytics, remote team management, digital marketing automation, AI-assisted workflow design. Skills that didn't exist when he started his career. Skills he assumed were for the tech people. Skills that in 2025 are now baseline expectations for roles that have nothing to do with technology. John's story isn't unique. It's becoming the default. And if you're watching this right now thinking your job is safe, your industry is stable, or your current skill set is good enough, I'm going to show you exactly why that assumption might be the most expensive mistake you ever make. Welcome back. If you're new here, we break down the forces reshaping work, wealth, and what it actually takes to stay ahead. Today, we're talking about why the skills that got you here won't get you there, and the specific online skills you need to build before the next wave hits. Stay until the end, because in the final section, I'm going to give you a practical framework for choosing which skill to learn first based on your current situation, your time, and your actual goals. Not generic advice, a real decision tree. Let's get into it. Let's start with something uncomfortable. The half-life of a professional skill used to be about 10 to 15 years. That means if you learned something valuable in 2005, it would still be roughly relevant until 2015 or 2020. Today, that half-life is closer to 2.5 years, and for anything involving technology, digital tools, or online platforms, it's shrinking faster. The World Economic Forum's 2023 Future of Jobs report found that 44% of workers' core skills will be disrupted in the next 5 years. Not slightly adjusted, disrupted, meaning the way you currently create value could be obsolete, automated, or devalued by 2030. But here's the part that doesn't get enough attention. This isn't just about technology replacing jobs. It's about technology changing the nature of every job. Take accounting. For decades, being a good accountant meant understanding tax code, balancing books, and knowing your way around Excel. Solid, stable, respectable. Today, a mid-level accountant who doesn't understand cloud-based accounting software, automated reconciliation tools, and AI-assisted forecasting is competing against people who do all of that in half the time. The role didn't disappear, the bar for the role moved. Or consider marketing. 20 years ago, a marketing director needed creativity, budget management, and relationships with ad agencies. Today, that same role requires fluency in programmatic advertising, data analytics, content management systems, SEO, social media algorithms, and increasingly AI prompt engineering. The title is the same, the job is unrecognizable. And this is where most people get stuck. They look at their current job description and think I'm fine. I do good work, my boss likes me. But they're measuring stability by looking backwards. They're asking, have I been valuable so far? The question that actually matters is, will I be valuable in the version of this job that exists 3 years from now? Because here's what the data actually shows. It's not the people who lose their jobs to automation who struggle most. It's the people who keep their jobs but can't keep up with the new requirements, the slow obsolescence, the gradual irrelevance, the salary that stays flat while the cost of living compounds. That's the real danger, not a dramatic layoff, a slow fade into professional invisibility. So why is this happening so fast, and why does it feel like it's speeding up? There are 3 forces at work. Understanding them isn't just interesting, it's how you predict where to place your bets. Force 1. AI as a skill multiplier, not just a job killer. The media loves the headline, AI will replace X million jobs. It's dramatic, it gets clicks. But the more accurate and more useful story is that AI is replacing tasks, not jobs, and it's replacing them unevenly. A graphic designer who uses AI tools can now produce in 2 hours what used to take 2 days. A copywriter with AI assistance can test 10 variations of an ad instead of 2. The people who thrive aren't fighting AI. They're the ones who learn to wield it, who treat it as a skill amplifier, not a threat. But here's the catch. Using AI effectively is a skill. It's not just typing a prompt and hoping. It's knowing how to structure requests, how to verify outputs, how to integrate AI into workflows, how to maintain quality control when speed increases tenfold. The gap isn't between people who use AI and people who don't use AI. It's between people who use AI skillfully and people who use AI poorly. And that gap is widening every month. Force 2. The remote work reshuffle. The pandemic forced a global experiment in remote work. The experiment is over, the results are in, and they changed the rules permanently. Before 2020, your competition for most professional roles was local. You competed with people in your city, maybe your state. Your network was geographic. Your reputation was built through in-person relationships. Now, your competition is global. A company in New York can hire a project manager in Lisbon, a designer in Manila, a data analyst in Nairobi, and increasingly, they do. This isn't about taking jobs, it's about expanding the talent pool, which means the baseline for what constitutes good enough just got recalibrated against the global standard. The person who gets hired isn't necessarily the one with the best degree or the most years of experience. It's increasingly the one who can demonstrate specific, verifiable online skills, the one with the portfolio, the certifications, the demonstrable output. Because when hiring is remote, credentials matter less than proof. A degree says you completed a program. A portfolio of work says you can actually do the thing. And in a global market, proof beats promise every time. This is the one that catches traditional professionals off guard. We're not just moving to remote work, we're moving to platform-based work. Upwork, Fiverr, TopTal, Contra, even LinkedIn's freelance marketplace. These aren't side hustle platforms anymore. They're becoming primary income sources for millions of professionals. And the platform economy has its own rules, rules that favor people who understand how to build an online presence, how to market themselves digitally, how to manage client relationships through screens, how to price and package services in a global marketplace. A lawyer who only knows how to bill hourly at a traditional firm is competing against a lawyer who sells fixed-price legal templates on a platform, markets through content, and scales through automation. A consultant who only works through referrals is competing against a consultant who builds an audience, creates digital products, and generates inbound leads while they sleep. The platform economy doesn't care about your title, your years of service, or your office location. It cares about your ability to create and capture value online. And that requires a specific, learnable set of skills that most traditional education never taught. So let's recap the 3 forces. 1. AI is multiplying output for those who know how to use it and leaving behind those who don't. 2. Remote work globalized competition, and proof of skill now beats credentials. 3. The platform economy is creating new paths to income that require digital self-sufficiency. Each of these forces alone would be significant. Together, they're reshaping what it means to be professionally viable, and they're not slowing down. The skills that actually matter. Okay, forces identified, but what do you actually do about it? Here's where I see people get stuck. They hear learn new skills and immediately think they need to become software engineers. They picture years of coding boot camps, complex math, and a complete career pivot. That's not what the data shows. That's not what the market is asking for. The skills that matter right now aren't about becoming a programmer. They're about becoming digitally fluent in your existing domain, about adding a layer of online capability to whatever you already know. Let me break down the 5 categories of skills that show up in virtually every future of work report, every hiring trend analysis, and every conversation I have with people who are actually thriving right now. Category 1, data literacy. Not data science, not becoming a statistician, data literacy. The ability to look at numbers, dashboards, and reports and extract meaningful insight. The ability to ask the right questions of data. The ability to spot patterns, anomalies, and opportunities. In a world where every tool generates data, the people who can interpret that data and turn it into decisions have almost an unfair advantage. This doesn't require advanced math. It requires familiarity with tools like Google Analytics, Excel, or Google Sheets at an intermediate level, basic SQL if you're feeling ambitious, and most importantly, a mindset that treats data as a source of truth rather than an afterthought. The accountant who can build a dynamic financial dashboard is more valuable than the one who can only produce static reports. The marketer who can read campaign analytics and adjust strategy in real time is more valuable than the one who waits for monthly summaries. Data literacy is the new literacy, and it's learnable in weeks, not years. Category 2, digital communication and content creation. This one is underrated because it feels obvious. Everyone uses email, everyone texts, everyone is online. But there's a massive difference between being online and being effective online. Digital communication means writing clearly for screens, not pages. It means structuring information for short attention spans. It means understanding how to present ideas through video, through slides, through visual storytelling. Content creation is the extension of this. The ability to package your expertise into something shareable, a LinkedIn post that actually gets engagement, a short video that explains a concept, a newsletter that builds trust over time. Why does this matter for your career? Because in a remote, global, platform-based economy, your ability to communicate your value digitally is your primary competitive advantage. The best engineer in the world who can't explain their work is less employable than a good engineer who can write, present, and build an audience around their expertise. And here's the thing. Content creation isn't just for influencers. It's for anyone who wants to be found, understood, and trusted in a digital environment. Category 3, AI and automation fluency. I touched on this earlier, but let's get specific. AI fluency isn't about knowing how ChatGPT works. It's about knowing how to integrate AI into your actual workflow to produce better outcomes faster. For a writer, that means using AI for research, outlining, and first drafts, but knowing how to edit, verify, and add human judgment. For an analyst, that means using AI to process large datasets, generate initial insights, and create visualizations, but knowing how to validate conclusions and spot errors. For a manager, that means using AI to draft communications, summarize meetings, and automate routine decisions, but knowing when human judgment is irreplaceable. The skill isn't the tool. The skill is the judgment around the tool. Knowing what AI is good at, what it's bad at, and how to combine it with human expertise to produce something neither could do alone. And this is moving fast. The people who started experimenting with AI tools in 2022 and 2023 are now 2 years ahead in workflow optimization. The gap is real, and it's compounding. Category 4, digital project management fluency. Remote work, global teams, and platform-based collaboration require a different kind of organization. Not just being organized, knowing how to use tools like Notion, Asana, Monday.com, or ClickUp. Understanding asynchronous communication, knowing how to document processes so they can be followed by someone you've never met in a time zone you've never visited. The person who can manage a project across platforms, time zones, and tools without everything falling apart is becoming one of the most valuable people in any organization. And again, this isn't about becoming a certified project manager. It's about being fluent in the infrastructure of modern work. Category 5. Financial and business acumen online. This is where this channel lives, so I'll keep it brief but pointed. Understanding how money flows online, how digital business models work, how to price services in a global market, how to read the financial health of a platform-based income stream, how to manage cash flow when payment schedules are irregular. The person who understands both their craft and the economics of their craft is exponentially more valuable than the person who only understands one. So those are the 5 categories: data literacy, digital communication and content creation, AI and automation fluency, digital project management, and online financial acumen. Notice what's not on this list: coding, advanced mathematics, a computer science degree. Those are valuable, but they're not the baseline anymore. The baseline is digital fluency in whatever domain you're already in. The decision framework. All right, we've covered the forces, we've covered the skills. Because learning new skills is advice that fails most people. Not because the skills aren't valuable, but because people try to learn everything at once, burn out, and conclude that they're not a tech person or that this stuff isn't for me. So here's a framework. Use it honestly. It works. Step 1. Audit your current situation. Ask 3 questions. 1. What do I currently get paid for? What's the core value I create? 2. What percentage of that value creation currently happens online versus offline? 3. If my primary income source disappeared in 90 days, what would I do? Be brutally honest. If more than 50% of your value is still offline dependent, that's your vulnerability. If you don't have a clear answer to question 3, that's your urgency. Step 2. Identify your overlap. Don't pick a skill because it's trendy. Pick a skill that sits at the intersection of 3 things: what the market is actually paying for, what you have some existing foundation in, and what you can tolerate learning when motivation is low. For example, if you're currently in sales, data literacy and digital communication are natural extensions. You already understand customer psychology. Adding data analytics to understand customer behavior at scale and content creation to build inbound leads is a logical evolution. If you're in operations, digital project management and AI automation fluency are obvious fits. You already organize things. Now you're just organizing them with better tools. The skill that sticks is the one that feels like an upgrade to your existing identity, not a complete replacement of it. Step 3. Set a 90-day proof of concept. Not a certification, not a course completion, a proof of concept. What can you build, create, or demonstrate in 90 days that proves you can use this skill to create value? For data literacy, a dashboard that actually informs a decision. For content creation, a series of posts or videos that builds a small audience. For AI fluency, a workflow that saves you 5 hours a week, documented and repeatable. For project management, a project you ran using modern tools with clear outcomes. The proof of concept does 2 things. It forces you to apply what you're learning, not just consume it. And it gives you something to show when opportunity knocks. Step 4. Build in public. This is the multiplier most people skip. As you learn, document. Share your process. Post about what you're building, what you're struggling with, what you're figuring out. Not to become an influencer, to create a trail of evidence that you're actively evolving, that you're not waiting for permission to become relevant. You're doing the work in real time. The number of opportunities that come from simply being visible about your growth is consistently underestimated by people who think they need to be ready before they show up. You're never ready. Start showing up anyway. Let's bring this home. The future of work isn't about robots taking all the jobs. It's about the definition of good enough shifting beneath people who aren't paying attention. The forces are clear. AI as a skill multiplier, globalized competition through remote work, and the rise of platform-based income. The skills are clear: data literacy, digital communication, AI fluency, digital project management, and online business acumen. The path forward is clear. Audit your situation, find your overlap, build a 90-day proof of concept, and do it in public. But clarity without action is just another form of procrastination. So here's what I want you to do right now. In the comments, tell me which of these 5 skill categories feels like the most natural extension of what you already do. And what's one small action you can take this week to start building your proof of concept? Not next month, this week. If you found this valuable, hit the like button. It actually helps the channel reach people who need to hear this. Subscribe if you want more breakdowns on the skills, tools, and strategies that are defining the next decade of work and wealth. And if you know someone who's been feeling that quiet anxiety about whether their skills are keeping up, send them this video. Sometimes the most valuable thing you can do for someone is show them the map they didn't know they needed. Thanks for watching.